Don't let the government be your daddy. You are self-governed.
Sir, yes, sir!
Access granted.
Hey, what's up? It's Rick Dees in the morning. Right now, Vendog.
Going live from a 35,000-foot view with Captain America for Jesus himself. Vendog Radio.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to, wow, is it Wednesday already? Oh my, I can't believe it. It's already the middle of the week, but that is fine with me. All right, if you are on YouTube, please do like, share, subscribe, hit the follow switch. We really appreciate it. And please make sure that this broadcast goes into the troposphere because we want everyone to get the 10,000% truth from a 35,000-foot view. If you are on the infamous Rumble, yes, hit it up, Vendog Radio USA on Rumble. If you are on X, formerly known as Twitter, please hit the follow switch, repost, share, and put it out, and make sure that you're getting it out to your peeps, even though they probably are not in tuned, as I would like to say, with everything that is going on around them, and that is never good. All right. If you are on Getter, GETTR, please hit the follow switch on Getter. And thank you to Jason Miller, the entire Getter front office staff, for always putting me on the front page on Getter. And it really does get better with Getter. And this will be immediately following airing on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and Spotify, TuneIn Radio, and wherever you shall download, broadcast, and podcast. All right. My guest today is one of the moms that is in the fight, and you better not mess with her, but she also is doing work and running Mountaintop Media. Holy smokes. She's got a lot on her plate, but she's doing it, and she's doing it for the right reasons, and she's also a chair for Moms for Liberty. Okay, I got it. Hopefully I got it right. All right, let's welcome a new friend to the podcast and broadcast, Leslie Sawyer. Hi, Leslie.
Hello. Thank you.
Oh, man. Welcome.
I'm excited to be here.
Yes. So we have a lot going on, especially in this wonderful place they call a boondoggle of California.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when it comes to protecting the children and parents' rights.
Yes.
Oh,
so
man.
We have this, I don't even know the right word for him. Let's just say we have a governor who likes to think that the greatest threat to democracy is parents and parental rights. And he fully intends to, while he's burning down California, burn down our parental rights with it. So it's a fun time to be alive.
Yeah, it definitely is a fun time to be alive. And I always call him Pharaoh.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, Pharaoh
I
Newsom.
see the correlation. Yeah, I do. I record, Mountaintop Media. We have like 6 different podcasts, and I record and produce a podcast for my friend Matt. And his first episode, his guest talked about Donald Trump being the modern day Moses, leading the people out of Egypt. And I was like, okay, I can see it. So, hey, we need modern day Moses to come over here and help the California people from Pharaoh. I like it.
Yeah. It's crazy, but I believe it's going to be the will of the people and not one person.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I mean, one person can't do it all. I'm like, because the good book already wrapped that up for us. Here's the deal. What made you get into this?
Well, I always joke when I'm trying to talk to people about getting involved and what they can do. I was going to school to be a teacher, and I was helping with youth sports. I was in charge of the cheer program for a youth football program. I was team mom, coach's wife for basketball. My life revolved around sports, my kids' school, and becoming a teacher. And I tell people all the time, I quit youth sports and education to jump into politics, and there's less politics in politics than there is in youth sports and education. So my world kind of collapsed, collided, fell upside down, flipped sideways all around 2020. My middle daughter got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes the year before. I ended up getting involved in a walkout to prevent COVID vaccines for our children here in California. And then got heavily involved. We were constantly trying to reinvent the wheel, found Moms for Liberty, started a podcast with a local podcast company, and they said, hey, you want to just take this? And so now I'm living my best life, running a conservative media company, keeping an eye on local government, and saving the world with Moms for Liberty. So,
Yeah, California really does need a lot of help when it comes to the parental rights for the children and the parents, because it seems like the school districts have been hijacked by these Malthusians who really want to not only take rights basically away from parents, but they basically want to like control your children for 8 hours of the day.
right. So I was asked to speak at an event in Southern California, and I tried like heck to get out of it because I had no clue what I was doing. I had no clue why I was going to be there. The panelists were amazing, wonderful people like Mary Barkey from Clio and California Policy Center, and Sonia Shaw, who's running for superintendent of schools, California. And I was like, I have no business being amongst the ranks of these women. They're amazing. I don't want to go. And I went and I found out like there's this whole group that is talking about the fact that there is a woke ideology, which was a philosophy that became an ideology. Once something becomes an ideology and it gets implemented by the state, by government, by whatever, it then leads to loss of life. And he talked about the correlations of like what happened in France during the French Revolution and what happened, in Nazi Germany and what happened like so many times throughout our history, that there's been these ideologies that come in and just take over. And really what's happened is this woke ideology has come in and it is trying to usher in Marxism and socialism. And it has an evil agenda behind it. It has a huge push of funding behind it because the greatest country in the world, America, stands in the way of a one world order. And the only way they're going to be able to do it is if they take us down from within. And so they're using this ideology to break us up. And that starts with breaking down the biblical family and breaking down that that unit that parents have with their kids by teaching kids to distrust their parents. That's the best way they can break down that biblical family and then our moral society.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it all started in the 60s with that Supreme Court situation where God was pulled out of the classroom. And then it just went downhill from there. I mean, Lyndon B. Johnson, when they went to the inner cities and told the moms that they didn't need the fathers in their lives anymore, to bring up the family and to be leaders, that they could do it and the government would support them, blah, 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 financially.
Right.
So, if you notice on my intro, it says, don't let the government be your daddy, you're self-governed. Because I believe that's the way the Bill of Rights and the Constitution was designed. And here's the thing where the reason why I always say don't let the government be your leader, because whenever the government says that something is good, it's really not good for you.
Right.
Right, left, up, independent, whatever. If they're all on the upper echelon at the top, they're all on the take. That's right. One thing I learned over the past 15 years. And I learned this from a guy by the name of Rush Limbaugh too. I got a chance to board out for him back in the day for 2 weeks. And I learned a lot from his producer, Armin, and him. And I'm just like, wow. So it's really deeper than people really think. And that's why I'm just like, well, I used to tout that line. Yeah, I'm just a stone cold Republican. Now I'm just a Republican.
Right. I know. My dad tells me all the time that I need to use the line talent on loan from God, because I tell people all the time, I was made for this. I was raised on Rush Limbaugh as a kid. I thought it was annoying sitting in the back of the car listening to it for hours and hours and hours. And then as an adult, I found myself listening to it for fun. And my son's first teddy bear was the Rush Revere teddy bear. Like, I mean, so you got me there. But, Ronald Reagan said it best when he said the scariest phrase is, I'm the government and I'm here to help.
Yeah, he
You
said the
know?
9 most terrifying words you ever want to hear is I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I used to say it takes a village, right? Because it takes everybody in your chosen circle to help you raise your family, bring up your kids. I was raised in a society and a community that was so tight knit, and I wanted that for my kids. And so I
Mhm.
used to say that all the time. It takes a village, takes a village. This is my village. I love my, and people would stop me now that I'm involved in politics and they're like, stop, don't say that. That's a Hillary Clinton thing. And what they mean by it is
It
it
takes
takes
the
a
government.
village, and the village is everybody but the family.
Yep.
And the village is made up of governmental entities that want you to be reliant on the government.
Mhm.
And so now I'm very careful not to say that. So what Rush book do you have in front of you? I see
How'd you know I had a book of
I like it. Oh my goodness. That's the book that is right now on my Audible account, and I am reading it. And I'm telling you, it is just like the Bible in the fact that it transcends times, and we are living everything he warned us about in that book.
and that's the other book I have.
Yeah. Two good books. Those are the two I'm working through right
Let
now.
me tell you, I thumbed through all 66 books. I go right through it. And this is like the 21st time I think that I'm going through it already in like less than 5-6 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So everything that is happening, it's already been foretold, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that I'm concerned about is that they are working with the enemies, which is crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
You're working with someone who's funding all of the chaos that's going on around the world, especially inside of our country, on
Right.
college campuses, you name it. Their tentacles are all over it. I was just doing some research this morning where I found out that Zelensky owns a lot of land in Wyoming. It's crazy. And I'm like, wait a
Right.
minute. So you're giving this guy money and he's coming here buying land. There's a problem.
Yeah.
There's a huge problem. And then they're dealing with Qatar. I'm like, are you kidding me? And they're building a base in Idaho.
Right.
I'm like, there's another big problem here. They're going to learn stuff from our military, take our technology, and then use it against us.
And we're rolling out the red carpet for all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
probably funding most of it.
Yeah, big time. And Reagan did say well, a lot of people said that it was going to be destroyed from within.
And that's the thing. It was designed so well because it was founded, 99% on the Bible, right? Like if you look at what book, what anything, the Constitution references more than anything else, the Declaration of Independence references more than anything else, it's the Bible and biblical principles, right? So our founding fathers had it right. They built a country on biblical principles. The only perfect word that we have, the only perfect manual that we have to form a government, and they did it knowing that it would withstand anything as long as, and they said it, we had a moral society that would uphold the values of it. And that is why it will be destroyed from within, because it takes us collapsing our own moral society to destroy our country. Nothing else can come against us. No weapon formed against us will prosper as long as we hold biblical values and principles.
And I tell people there's ways to hold biblical values and principles without compromise.
Absolutely.
It's like when you read when the Apostle Paul says to have no affiliation with deeds of darkness.
Mhm.
right? Um, we can't go rubbing elbows with people that are pretending to like us, because that's what the Muslims do. They pretend that they like you, especially if they're small in number. They've been told to do that. Their Quran is actually a lie. And it even says it in the Quran that Allah is the chief of all deceivers. And who is Allah in real life? Satan. That just tells you right there.
Right.
I'm like, guys, man, we cannot play footsies with people that want to whack you.
Right.
It,
Well,
it, it just doesn't work.
and you talked about how it was in the 60s when they removed God from education that things started to go downhill. And I would argue that it was right around that same time where our churches completely pulled out and started saying, you know, it's not for us to decide. How many pastors are like, God puts in the leaders, just pray and trust God and follow man's law. And we're told biblically that we should just be good, kind citizens of, no, Jesus flipped tables. He knew when to call out the leaders and tell them that what they were doing was evil. And when we have
even the people you vote for,
right, when we have pastors and we have leaders who are allowing people to medically mutilate our children, who are going against God's perfect design, like not even just God's design, his perfect design. Every child is created exactly the way they were made to be.
yes.
And when somebody is going against that, why is every single pastor not standing up and speaking out, right? Why is every member of the church not standing up and saying, vote this person out? Why do we have this person in our local government? Why do we have this person in our state government? Why is this person leading our country? And the longer we are apathetic and the longer we stand by and do nothing, more and more evil will get a groundhold and we will lose.
You know what the huge problem is? And I'm just going to say it how it is, because that's how I am. I don't know if you noticed that or not when you've watched the other shows. The problem is that pastors aren't giving people the truth from the pulpit, right? Most pastors now do not even preach from the Bible, which will set the precedent for principles and values.
Right.
Pastors are afraid to talk about sin and hell because they don't want to offend anybody. Well, guess what? This is why we're in the predicament that we're in right now.
Right.
Because people are not getting the actual gospel truth that was set in front of us, the basic instructions before leaving this earth. They're not going into that, and they're just saying, well, we're going to discount this from the Old Testament. Wait a minute. In scripture, it says, please do not add or take from this book. What are you doing? That's just not going to work. So basically, that's the problem. They're not putting their foot down to let the church know how it really goes down. It's too many light shows and fog machines. Pastors want to wear skinny jeans and open button shirts and all this stuff. Like, dude, what is going on?
It doesn't matter how big your mega church is if it's just a bus stop to load people up and take them in the wrong direction, right? Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I told my pastor, he preaches out of the Bible. There are so many things that I am like, yes, this is what we should be doing. I know that the core of our church, I know what their beliefs are. That's why I started going to church there. But we have a new pastor that's kind of a mega church minded pastor, right? And I walked up and I said, hey, here's the deal. If we don't start preaching truth, if we don't start talking about how every election is the most important election, if we don't start calling out evil, if we don't start speaking up against things like transitioning children, if we don't start speaking about this stuff, you're going to lose people, but not just that, you're going to lose credibility. And I'm sitting here taking notes every time, you're talking and you're preaching about Daniel and talking about like how he followed that no matter what came against him. He
Mhm.
followed what he knew to be true. And then here you are, and you've got something in front of your face that allows you to stand up against the mutilization of children. And you say nothing because it might be tied to, the Second Amendment, or it might be tied to, one party or another, and you don't want to look like you're picking sides on an issue. The
Mhm.
issue we're picking sides on is, God created all children perfectly,
Mhm.
and people are messing with that, you
There
know?
there was something very interesting that you said on my good friend Charlie's show the other day, and I texted him. I said, "I like this lady. She knows what she's talking about." When you said, "We can't just think that it's all good in one party," right?
Right.
And because let me tell you, California's full of Republicrats.
Oh, yeah.
All right? So,
I walked away from the GOP. Like,
yeah. Yeah, exactly. See, that's the problem. That's the problem. People are like, "Oh, but we got to stick to, our party." I'm like, "Well, if you have a party preference, that's where you're all messed up because they're both on the
right.
same bird."
Right. Well, you have the same 6 companies funding all the candidates,
Mhm.
and, I mean, take the stuff going on in the Middle East. Like, why did that go through one presidency to the next presidency to the next? Because it's the same rich 6 people in a penthouse somewhere
Mhm.
throwing things in there and playing real life video games with people's lives. Like, it's just 6 rich guys that are like rolling dice saying, okay, send a suicide bomber to that side. Okay, send one to that side. Drop a pallet of cash over here. Drop some weapons over there. Like,
Mhm.
it, I mean, there's evil on both sides. There's bureaucrats inflating things and trying to make government complicated on both sides.
Mhm.
I mean,
It's just more hidden on the right, if you know what I mean.
well, it is, but it also isn't. I mean, that's why when I say I walked away from the GOP, like, I run a conservative media company locally. I'm going to do everything that I
Mhm.
can to keep my side together, but had to walk away because it is a once a month country club that does absolutely nothing. And
Mhm.
then when it comes to candidates, we're playing the same game as the Democrats. We used to be the party of the people, where it was this working man came out and he donated his time to go do what our founding fathers intended them to do, which is take
Mhm.
turns serving in local government.
Yeah.
And
One
now
term and
it's
you're done.
right. And now it's who has the most money, who's going to make the most money, who's going to continue to generate the most money. And now it's just 2 money machines working against each other. When
Absolutely.
people say you don't have the best governor candidate, um, that's going to win it, you have whoever raises the most money. We're doomed to fail.
Yeah, absolutely. And people are like, so what do we do? I'm like, well, you stand up for righteousness, you call it all out, no matter what happens, you fight to the
Right.
finish. We're called to run our race until it's done
Right.
because a lot of these people are power hungry. All of them are.
Right.
I mean, look, I'm at the point to where I really learned this. And I'm telling you, I had some great mentors to teach me this. They're like, you're gonna find out in life that it is all theater with these people.
Mhm.
It's all a dog and pony show. When they go on camera, they're gonna say the things that they know that the people want to hear. And then when they go behind closed doors, they all slap hands and say, "We got them." Hook, line, and sinker. And to be honest with you, I've seen it and it was disgusting.
Right.
Some of the people I thought that were just like, "Oh man, yeah, we're gonna giddy up and go." They're behind closed doors, slapping hands, having champagne with these people and caviar,
Mhm.
laughing it up.
Yeah, and some of them aren't even doing it behind closed doors. I mean,
Mhm.
look at George W. Bush at the last 2 inaugurations. And look what he's doing. He's, rubbing elbows with the Obamas, high-fiving the Clintons.
Well, he's
like,
related to the Obamas, right?
I did not know that.
Yes, he is the cousin of Barack Obama. His dad is the uncle of Barack Obama.
Did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm just
let me
saying,
tell you,
yeah.
two things. If you're not a 33-degree Mason, or you're not a part of the bloodline, you're never going to be president.
Right.
It's just.
But how unfortunate is that? Like,
yeah.
And, here's when people say, like, what's the point? My vote doesn't matter. What's the point? What are we doing? How are we going to fix it? It's corruption on both sides. What are we going to do? Here's what I'm thinking. I don't know the latest polls. I haven't looked at it, and I don't know that I really trust polls, but it was said that, around 80% of people proclaim themselves to be Christian or have some sort of like religious something. I'm sure that number is going down, but the most recent ones that I looked at when looking to run candidates and stuff, 60% of Christians don't vote. So if we've got 80%,
they're Christians in name only.
Right. So if we've got 80% of our population is Christian and 60% of them aren't voting, if we get that 60% on fire to say, hey, enough is enough, I'm sick of being played by both sides, and they all start voting, then who's to say we can't have an independent or somebody who goes against the grain? Like, I don't know if you know Louis Herms. He's who I want to be our next governor because he's doing the work. He's believing the stuff. He's walking the walk. He's been fighting human trafficking for years. He's knows our Constitution inside and out. But I mean, what do we do? How do we get somebody like that? We got to have everybody that says, enough is enough. I don't want to play this party politics. I don't care who your choice is. I don't care who your choice is. I want somebody who stands for truth, righteousness, and what's best for our kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially here in California, we are in a dogfight.
Mm-hmm.
It is crazy.
Well, and it's a jungle primary. If we stay divided, we're going to end up with 2 Democrats.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be bananas. It is going to be bananas.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you guys something, folks, across the country. Gavin Newsom is going to run for president.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Gavin Newsom is going to be capable of winning because he's a Rockefeller adoptee. All right. Mm-hmm. He's got a lot of billionaire pushers behind him. Mm-hmm. And some of those techno bros are already in Washington.
Right.
District of Criminals. So look out below, folks. If you're not paying attention and you wake up one morning and you hear the jive turkey leaning his head like the Joker to the left, you know what happened.
Right. And the thing is, like, I made a TikTok calling out some of this legislation that's passing in California, and it took off, right? And people are like, I don't know how you vote for that guy. Leave California. This is ridiculous. And I'm like, he wants to be president. Like, you guys think this is insane, but there are people that like him because the thing is, we've created a society where evil can come out and say, hi, I'm evil. And people are like, hey, look, that's so cool. Right. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And we have zero moral society left, or very little of it. And the devil can flat out come out and say, hey, let's play a game. And people are like, yeah, sign me up. Right. And that's what's happening is Gavin Newsom comes out and says, I'm evil. I hate you, parents. I hate everything that stands for biblical values and principles.
And he does.
And he does. He says it. He flat out says it. He told on Charlie Kirk, or he had Charlie Kirk on his podcast, right? If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. And he breaks down all the ways he's evil. Right. Mm-hmm. But you know what? He breaks down all the ways he's evil. He talks about, Charlie's like, why are you so pro this trans agenda? And he said, well, it's just like you and your abortion issue. And you're, to you, it's a religious thing. Well, to me, the trans thing's a religious thing. That's because Gavin Newsom worships money. And there is money in that industry. And Gavin Newsom is evil. And he looks at that agenda like a religion. And he's going to fight. He even said, I don't care if it's not popular with my voting base. I'm going to push for it because to me, it's a religious issue. Like for you, it's abortion. And then he said, I don't even want to talk about Moms for Liberty. Those well-organized moms, I don't even want to talk about them. Well, he got something right. We're well-organized and we're going to fight against him becoming president.
Yeah. And rebuke him at every turn. All right.
I know. Sorry. Rabbit trails.
I'm like that. I rebuke him at every turn. I can't stand the guy. And I'll say it out loud.
Yeah.
The thing of it is too, is that there was a survey, I forgot what publication it was, about what you were talking about, how people identify themselves as Christians. 18% somewhat read the word of God, the Bible, but they said only 5%, and I thought that was a generous number because I think it's smaller. 5% of people that call themselves Christians think from a biblical worldview. 5%. I think it's about 2.5%, to be honest with you. Just by the way everything is going in the country, because did you know that the fastest growing religion is the Church of Satan in America?
Oh, I believe it 100%.
Mm-hmm.
They have Satan clubs popping up all over schools.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. Evil can walk out and say, I'm evil, and people are buying it.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Taylor Swift at a football game hanging out with her satanic friend and you've got every little girl in America worshiping it. Like, that's what's happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it was funny. People asked me, oh man, so did you see all this coming? I'm like, yeah, I did actually. I worked in the secular world of broadcasting, and I knew it was coming, and I almost lost my footing, and I'm like, wait a minute. I know how this is all played. I've seen people that pretend that they're conservatives and they're walking in with the people that are liberals spending money in the building. And it's all a game to these folks. And there's another guy that I was talking to who's running for governor, and he was like, man, he goes, it's like a crazy situation. He goes, I went to this dumb GOP thing in Orange County, and they were just talking about the dumbest things, like, oh, do we need to have these type of refreshments to get people in the building? And this other stuff. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's my good friend Daniel.
I love Daniel.
Yes. Daniel Mercury.
I absolutely, I was so torn. Do I want Daniel Mercury or do I want Lewis Herms? And
Have you read his book?
I'll be happy with either. I have not read his book yet,
You
but I
need to
have
read his book. I have
interviewed him.
Zenith.
Yeah, I have interviewed him. I do need to get his book though.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent time with both him and Lewis Herms at the Rev 17 event. I don't know if you know what that was. Charlie was
heard
there.
about that. I heard about that.
So I spent time with all of them, and that was my 1 week of vacation this year. I was like, okay, I'm going to take time off politics, take time off Moms for Liberty. I'm going to go take a whole week off and help with this anti-human trafficking event. And I will tell you, going into it, I was like, I don't have the stomach for this. I don't have my heart can't take it to handle any of this. But being there and seeing like the hope in restoration and the hope in people who just love the Lord, who are out there fighting evil, I just saw like, you know what? Our country it's savable, and our society is savable, and our race is savable. Like there was so much hope in that weekend, and I had never been in a place where there was so much prayer, and it was amazing.
Wow, that's incredible.
Right?
I know of an organization. They're a small organization that really fights trafficking, and I interviewed one of the ladies that's a part of a chapter, and they're really rescuing children.
Yeah.
Um, they get no help from certain companies. I don't want to mention any of their names because they don't deserve any pop,
Right.
because what they do is a whole big scam financially. Let's put it that way. Um, they say that, oh yeah, we're gonna raise money and put it towards, helping, these organizations. Like, yeah, you guys aren't gonna do that. I knew it was coming.
Right.
Um, but it's absolutely heinous and incriminating that I don't care who you are, if you don't have that type of moral compass to fight trafficking,
Hmm.
you're not good in my book.
Right.
You're not good in my book, because there was like a little reputation I developed when I was in radio. Like, man, don't mess with kids or Vin's coming for you.
Right.
Um, that's just my deal. Um, so when I see all of this unfolding, look, when you take a step back and you look at everything from an overview, you will see who are the real ones, who are the fake ones that are just, jockeying for a position just to get a name, right?
Hmm.
You'll see it. You'll
Hmm.
see it. You will see who's really trying to do it for the right reasons. And when you notice, I'm telling you, when you really pay attention to these people, you're like, man, these people, you're like, wait a minute, I thought that guy was really cool. He's a wolf, I thought that lady,
Hmm.
yeah, I thought that lady was cool. No, she's in it for the clickbaiting,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And
We
I don't want
call
to mention
those
any
we
names.
call those patriots, the people who they're patriots, but they're in it for a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
And so we call
Patriot
those
paychecking.
patriots,
Mm-hmm.
patriots, because, those of us who really were in the fight to try to make a difference, none of us are making money, you
Mm-mm.
know?
No.
And, I people ask, like, what do you do for fun? What are your hobbies? What sports team do you like? Well, I fight for America. And when America wins, we all win, right? Like, to me, that is my sports. To me, like, I get in local politics, I get in, saving our kids, fighting legislation. Why? Because when I win, we all win, right? And it has that same, I don't know, competitive feel, right?
Mm.
You walk into the swing space at the Capitol building in Sacramento, and it's a competition. It is us versus them, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you sit there trying to speak and trying to, support your purpose. And it's like any other competitive events. But when we win, we all win, right? And right now in
Mm-hmm.
California, we're losing across the board. We have so much harmful stuff coming our way.
Mm-hmm.
And they're they're sweeping it all under the rug, you know?
Yeah. There's just so much that's coming at us at full force.
Mhm.
Um, and people are like, "Hey, what do you think about the shutdown of the government?" I was like, "Hey, that's the best thing that ever happened to the country."
Yeah, get people less dependent on government.
Yeah. I'm like, do you realize that in the earlier times in this country, people were actually working for themselves, teaching their children some type of trade. They spent less time in the classroom and more time with their families, learning how to do something in life, you know, from farming all the way to building, to building.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, you guys can stay closed. Don't get paid. Don't take any more of our money. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's like I'm over all of this nonsense because it's a circus,
Mhm.
and you really see them following their script.
Right.
It's insane.
Well, and it's like COVID all over again. The things that they deem to be important, they're gonna allow to survive, and the things that they deem not to be important, those are gonna be the things that go under,
Yeah.
right?
Remember, the big box stores were open, but the small businesses were closed.
Right,
So
and I
tell me
mean,
there wasn't some cricket crumbing going on either. You know,
Yeah. But I mean, think about it. Who's the Democratic voter base? Majority wise, it's those who are dependent on governmental services, right? And
mhm,
they've designed that. And
mhm.
so, are they really going to risk going into an election cycle pissing off their voter base?
No.
No, this whole thing's going to end soon enough because they're not actually going to starve out their voter base,
Mm-mm.
especially when they've got their own calling them out on it. Right. And again, I don't think either party's perfect. Right. But I'm definitely not saying let's open up the government by sending LGBTQ funds to wherever. Like when that's on the table, starve it out. I don't care.
You know what it's
Right.
called? Money laundering.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, why do we think there was so much money going in and out of Ukraine before all of this madness with Ukraine happened? It was going
Mhm.
on for years before.
Yeah. This stuff's been going on for decades, Leslie.
Yeah.
Decades. Decades.
Right. I know. Well, and then, not to like jump into another crazy subject, but everybody's like, oh, what Epstein, this Epstein. I say do it. Let it all out. And let's
I
knock
don't care
out
who's on it.
90% of both sides, right?
Mhm.
Because there's going to be people on both sides. Let's knock it all out. I don't care if they're a singer. I don't care if they're an actor. I don't care if they're in government. I don't
Ugh.
care if they own the airline. Knock it all out and let's wipe the floor with all of them, every one of them.
I don't
Death
care who it
penalty
is.
for all of them, right?
Mhm.
Both sides. Sorry, I totally just, death penalty across the board. Our society will be better for it, right?
Mhm.
I-
It'd be totally better for it.
But they're like, we can't do that. It'll collapse the entire system if you saw who's in it. Oh, I know who's in it. I know one of the victims, and she's talked about it.
Mhm.
And she's not one of the victims that gets to be on TV because her story is she got sold to Epstein at 5 years old. The
Wow.
right? The mainstream media doesn't want you to know that Epstein was diddling with 5-year-olds
Oh, he was a
because
eugenicist.
right,
A
they want
transhumanist.
you to think, oh, well, they were teenagers and it's icky, but it's, society sort of accepts it icky. No, this guy was doing things all this poor woman, one of my nearest, dearest friends, I love her dearly, has a place in my heart. We pray together. I love her. She was bred into trafficking, right?
Mhm.
Like created for it. That's how evil these people are. Wipe
You
the
know what?
whole earth of them,
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy.
right?
Mhm.
And they don't want that story getting out there. So every time she does a podcast, every time she does any type of story, she speaks at an event, it gets shadow banned so hard. You can have a
Mm.
video with 10,000 views, then you have hers with 17, then you have another one with 10,000 views.
That is
Why?
so wicked.
Right?
Yeah. And you know, it's funny that you mentioned that. It even happens on Rumble too.
It is. Yeah.
Yep. It even happens on Rumble.
It's
'Cause they're all
everywhere.
in it.
It's
They're
everywhere.
all in it.
And the only reasoning for it is it's evil.
Mhm.
It's evil everywhere.
Yeah.
And because what she's saying is truth. It would not be shut down. It would not be fought so hard against if she was not over the target.
Let me tell you something. You know what the biggest problem is too, as far as all this concerned. One of the biggest organizations that probably leads all of this is a demonic organization created by the government called CPS.
Oh yeah.
I can't stand CPS. They are the worst, and they are the problem.
Right.
Straight
Well,
up, they're the problem.
100%. And we're seeing it across the country. We're seeing people standing up and saying, like, we're seeing stories come out and documentaries come out where it's like, this kid had so many warning signs. Why was nothing done? Well, because we were worried about the bottom line, or we were worried about this, we were worried about that. Like, but what's happening in California? Look at California. You have legislators using their time, their effort, their energy into legislating, hey, we want CPS to come in and take away the non-affirming parent. We want foster
Wow.
parents that if you're a foster parent, but you're not willing to affirm a child's gender, you're not allowed to be a foster parent. These are the legislation we're putting out, not, hey, we want CPS to clean up their practices, not, hey, we want, better training for our employees, or hey, we want, better training for parents that are supposedly trying to get their kids back, or better training for whatever, you name it. That's not what we're
Mhm.
legislating. We're legislating ways to take out more good people,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right?
pretty much. Pretty much.
And they're
You
not
know,
even hiding it.
mm-mm.
And
You
that
know,
kind of leads into like the legislation that we're fighting right now. We didn't even know there was a bill, SB 450. We didn't even know until we were tracking all the other bills that we were fighting. We didn't even know it was on there. We're watching, did he sign it yet? Did he sign it? And we go, what was this? SB 4, what was this? And
mm-hmm.
you go on Grok and you pull it up. Hey, they show you an old version of it, the one that got signed into law and effective January 1st this year. Oh, it's a housing thing. Then you say, well, what other versions of it are there? Does this have anything to do with adoption? Oh, no, nothing. And then
Mhm.
you say, what about SB 450, 2005, 2006, or 2025, 2026? Oh, that one? Oh, yeah. It does. It extends the jurisdiction of California into other states for adoption so that it can protect the LGBTQIA plus children, whatever.
Alphabet Mafia.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me you have an agenda without telling me you have an agenda when you are burying this so hard that you can't find it on a search engine.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's
Mm-hmm.
passing under everybody's nose because it
Yeah.
furthers that agenda.
Can I tell you what the problem is? People are too busy wanting to be entertained, right? Um, it's like we're in this digital version of the Roman Empire.
Mm,
We're the actors in the seats, and they're just putting on the big show behind everyone's backs. And then when you find out all of this stuff happens, it's a little too late.
right.
Yeah. And the thing of it is I tell people, man, put down those so-called smartphones. If you
Mhm.
don't have to make a phone call or send a text, put it down.
Right.
That one Ukrainian young lady, who was a refugee,
Mm-hmm.
who was escaping the meat grinder that I call the Ukraine, she got killed on a train in Carolina. There were 4 guys sitting in that area, and guess where their heads were? In their phones.
Oh, yeah. Like this. Well,
Their
I mean,
heads
so
were
was hers.
Yeah.
They,
And
yeah.
I'm like, dude, serious? I don't get it.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's all by design.
Mm-hmm.
It's to get people like submitted to this whole matrix situation.
Yeah. They keep us distracted so they can keep us divided.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're like, oh no, we can't have people having a human connection because
Right.
that would just mess up our whole agenda. See, I'm telling you, this playbook was already written. They're
I
just
know.
going through with it. Klaus Schwab said it out loud. He said, I infiltrated the cabinets. We infiltrated the cabinets. I'm like, wow. He said it.
Right.
He said, we infiltrated nearly 100% of all of the seats in your cabinets in America.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, he's not lying. Is he
Right.
evil? Yes, but he's telling you it's already done. He's telling you. And who is this
because they
for?
told you, and because you didn't stand up and do anything,
Mm-hmm.
and because you consented, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then
Yeah.
later when it's like, why is this happening? Well, you consented. I told you what I was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's like everything that's happening in California. We're telling you what we're going to do. You stood by and did nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And I mean,
if California goes, good night, America.
well, and so being part of Moms for Liberty, a couple times a year we get together. At least once a year, we all get together and we joke. It's like being in Miss Congeniality. Hi, I'm Arizona. Hi, I'm California. Hi, blah, blah, blah. Right. And it's like being in that movie, but we all joke. I have a friend, Christy from Colorado, and she calls it Cali-rado. She's like, what happened with this law in California? Because I know it's coming here. Or, hey, we had this law and I know it's coming to California. And we can share these war stories because when one state gets away with it, it's amazing how fast it spreads. It's like cancer across the rest of the states. So people think, oh, California, you guys are doing crazy things, but it's not touching us. Guess what? You have community schools taking over Utah. Utah has been the most infiltrated state. They don't have a moms. They don't have a Moms for Liberty, right? So I flew out there to try to start a Moms for Liberty with a group of parents that were concerned. They wanted education. They wanted information. How can we do this? How can we fight? For a year, I was helping them with their school board stuff. And finally, I was like, I'm just going to fly out there and show you how to do it. They had such strong opposition come against them. I did a talk radio interview, and they had 20,000 comments on it trying to shut it down. They had people, this lady's crazy and, her kids aren't even in public school. Guess what? Yes, my kids are in public school. And I just hopped on the Facebook feeds and I said, thanks for that introduction. If it's on my Facebook page, I stand by it. Let me introduce myself. I'm Leslie. I'm a mom and I care about saving our country, right? I care about having a say in what happens to our kids. And they got shut down, right? But they have been fully infiltrated in all levels of government, right? And that's what's happening is when you don't do anything, when good people stand by and do nothing, evil takes over.
Silence in the face of evil is evil.
Right. So the only way we're going to win is to stand up, start flipping over tables like Jesus did, and start calling out evil for evil. Like Charlie Kirk said, like get back to the basics of your Bible. Like this isn't my Bible. My Bible's over there. But put away the phone. Like he said on Saturday, I just read out of my Bible. I put away the phone. The phone doesn't even come out because a Bible with the dings and the clicks and the distractions isn't the Bible, right? It's a paper Bible that you can thumb through and you can read. And I sat down on an airplane one time and I was just like, okay, I'm just going to read my Bible, put my phone away. I don't need the Wi-Fi. I got 2 paragraphs into Isaiah and I was like, holy cow, we're living it. I haven't made it off the first page of Isaiah because I keep rereading it and keep writing more notes. And I've got one of those Bibles that you can write in. And I haven't made it through the first page of Isaiah. And I've sat down 6 times to read it. Because it's what we're living in, right?
Yep. I'm going to tell you something else too. I don't know if you know about this. This is how you know. Well, we already know the Bible is the real deal, right? Well, no, that's the wrong one. I want to pull the PDF of this. There we go. I'm going to show you something, Leslie, that you probably didn't know. You see that?
Wow.
Read Ezekiel 38 and 39 and get back to me and tell me what you think.
All right.
There you go. It's all playing out.
Wow.
Yeah, it's all playing out. That's why I tell people reading the Word of God is so important. As much time as people spend watching television, being entertained, how about at least giving half of that time to God's Word?
Right.
At least a few hours a day. Like I try my best to give at least an hour and a half a day, especially when I wake up at 3 a.m. when I can't sleep anymore. I want to get enamored by God's Word. I know what's coming. Whenever I see a news story like this, I know what's coming. I know what's coming. the war is not of with the technology when it comes down to it at the end of the day. What is the world doing right now? The world is starting to turn on Israel. Tells you that in the Bible. The world's going to come against Israel, blame them for everything. Guess what's happening?
Right.
You have people like Tucker Carlson and Irandis Owens. That's what I call Candace. You know, first they were all good, and all of a sudden, boom, the true colors came out. I have a video of Tucker Carlson said that he hates Christian Zionists. I'm like, what? People don't understand. Christian Zionism is actually biblical because where's Jesus going to come back on? Mount Zion. People, these people are really in an undertow right now. I believe that they have been bought and paid for.
Well, I mean, everybody has.
Mm-hmm.
You can't believe anything that you've been told on television, right? Like,
television.
right. The television,
Mm-hmm.
you know, my
Mm-hmm.
friend Nicole, she sings a song and that's what she said, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that's what's happening, right? Is we're in a modern day holy war. That's the name of her song. And
I had her on. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's what's happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're distracted, we're dumbed
Mm-hmm.
down, we're fighting each other, we're being told, look over here, 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 right?
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, I mean, they're destroying us from the inside out.
Yeah.
They're turning our kids against us. They're finding ways to legalize taking our children, selling them into the number one industry in the world, which is child sex slave,
Mm-hmm.
human trafficking, right? And they're doing it all right in front of your eyes. And you don't want to stand up until it's your friend's kid or your neighbor's kid or, you know, and then all of a sudden it's like, wow, this is real. How do I stop it?
Mm-hmm.
It's insane. It's scary.
Yeah. You know, I tell people at the end of the day, if you're a believer, what are you really fighting for, right? You're fighting because you know you have to do what's right while you're here. And at the end of the day, it's not about the embarrassment of the riches here on earth, right? At the end of the day. Because all of this stuff that's on earth is going to wither away eventually. But where is your life going to be afterwards? That is the question.
Right.
Where's your life afterwards? And that is the number one question people should be asking themselves.
Right.
Where am I going to be at the end of my life? That is why it's great to have that personal relationship with Jesus Christ at the end of the day. That's what this broadcast is all about at the end of the day. I want people to understand that they need to have that personal relationship with Christ. And guess what? Everything else will fall into place. Is it going to be a perfect ride? No, absolutely not. He tells us it's not going to be perfect. He says people will hate you for loving me. That's fine. I'm good with that. I'd much rather be hated by the world than to be, enamored with their demonic, practices.
Right.
You know what? I'm like, I'm good with that. I'm like, yes, I'm not of this world. Thank you. That's why I stand and fight for righteousness. I want to help, moms like you to protect children. Yes, absolutely. 10,000% above. That is what we are supposed to do. We are supposed to protect the voiceless. And that's from the womb to the tomb.
Right.
And people are not doing that. They're oblivious. They're like, well, it's all gonna go downhill anyway. So what? Still fight. Fight. Where's your gumption? People have no courage. No moral courage. But sometimes people sit out there and be keyboard warriors. I'm like, I don't even pay attention to it anymore
Mm-hmm.
because it's the social media thing is the optical illusion that the system wants people to stay stuck in.
Right.
We as a society do not know how to get out of our comfort zone anymore because of all of this technology. I tell you, I got people in my family that think, oh man, you're out of your mind when talking about this, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, you're going to realize one day that you should have done something.
Right.
And when you realize that one day, I pray that it's not too late that you don't stand up because everybody has to answer for everything they do or they didn't do to protect the women, the children, the defenseless, whoever it may be,
Mm-hmm.
that weren't able to defend themselves against
Right.
this evil. I just like, man, come on, folks, wake up.
Mm-hmm.
Wake up, smell the coffee, see the
Yeah.
forest for the trees, what it's really all about. And when you take off the rose-colored glasses, you'll be mind blown in the beginning, but you know what? You got to get into the fight and fight the good fight and finish your race strong.
Right. But once you get to the point where nothing surprises you anymore, I mean, how freeing is that? You know, you
Mhm.
get to the point where you can say something like, you know, Gavin Newsom just had somebody come, what do you call it? Shut down a pot farm that he owns, and there were kids being trafficked on it, right? Like,
Mhm.
you say something like that and you're not even fazed by it. Like, yeah, no, could have told you he was involved, right? Like, it
Mhm.
doesn't even shock me that he's involved.
Mhm.
But there's a freedom in not having the wool pulled over your eyes anymore. There's a
Mhm.
freedom in not being shocked by it. Now, was it hard at the beginning finding out that, you know, so many people that you thought were great totally just suck? Yeah, it's hard, right? Is it hard walking away from watching TV and listening to whatever you want? Yeah, it's hard. But so is knowing that your kids aren't going to have a future, right? So is
Mhm.
knowing that if you continue to do nothing, things are going to get worse, not better. So, yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's, Charlie Kirk died, and I had so many people from my family, so many friends, family, loved ones that were like, okay, so are you done now? Like, now that this happened, like, are you done? What are you going to do? I'm worried about you. And I was like, no, I'm going to push harder, right? I'm going to stand up stronger because I'm nowhere near his level, right? And
Right.
now they've taken out somebody who is affecting change. So now so many more of us need to rise up, right?
Yeah.
And so shortly after all of these bills signed, in fact, AB 495 passed the day that he was assassinated. That's the day that our Senate and our assembly got together and voted it through to become law, right? And so
And then
I'm
Gavin
like,
Newsom goes ahead and signs it on a Sunday night.
he signs it on a Sunday evening. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, so I turned to my friends and family that asked me if I'm going to quit. And I said, no. In fact, AB 495, that's a hill I'm willing to die on. Right?
Mhm.
Our kids being sold, our kids making it easy
The
for them to be
kidnap bill.
tracked. Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh, you put that one. And to me, I mean, 495 outrages so many people. The one that I think should outrage just as many is AB 727, which
Mhm.
is the one that places the Trevor Project's information on the back of every single student ID card in California.
Folks, if
Why?
it's happening here, it's already in the back door of your state too.
Yeah. And why does that one scare you? Well, because that gives groomers and terrible people access to your kids. And what do they need to be able to fill out the affidavit and steal your kid off campus? They need their name, what school they're at, and their date of birth. So you get onto the Trevor Project, you get a kid, you take them off of the Trevor space, which is their talk space. You put them on Discord and you say, hey, I'm a Leo. What are you? Oh, I'm a Virgo, whatever. Oh, so what day? Because maybe we're close. And that kid just told you their birthday. Oh, do you play football? Yeah, I played football in high school. Oh, what's your school's mascot? What town are you in? That kid just told you where they go to school. Within 30 seconds of meeting this kid, you have everything you need to know to fill out an affidavit and kidnap this child.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrifying. So those bills go hand in hand. Is it coincidental that they passed at the same time? No.
Mm-mm.
Right? And then you have SB 450 that's hidden that allows the jurisdiction of California courts to expand into other states, allowing people to adopt and kidnap your kid further, right? None of this is coincident. There's no such thing as coincidence, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. That is just wild. You know what it is too? If you go back and you watch some of these movies, it was like they were desensitizing people.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're living in, a world of desensitization. I mean, look, I agreed with Charlie on certain things, but I didn't agree with him on everything. But to assassinate someone just because, that I have a lot to say about that, though. It's just crazy to me.
Right.
It is absolutely incriminating.
But
I'm like,
why? But
and
why?
then people celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, this is the world we live in.
Right. But why was it so important to stop his message? Because what are the two things that
There was
can
one tweet
stop?
that he put out on X, and I think it was one of his final ones. He said it's all about Jesus.
Right.
And not only that, there are a lot of people that were getting fed up because he was there were certain things that were happening behind closed doors, and he just wasn't willing to toe the line. But he was doing it for the right reasons, not for the
Right.
reasons that Candace Owens is talking about. She's out of her mind.
Right. But
he was
I
doing
mean,
things for the right reasons.
why does he need to be shut down? What are the two things that can save our society, keep us from being destroyed from within?
Nuclear family and Jesus.
Right.
Yeah.
And those are the things, and not even the nuclear family, the biblical family, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Like, if we stick to knowing that Christ is the only way to be forgiven of our sins and live forever, right? And we stand in biblical principles and we hold a strong family unit, nothing can destroy us.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But what are they doing? What is this big design? It is break up the moral society and destroy the family unit.
Mm-hmm.
If we remove morals and we destroy the family unit, we can make them dependent on the government and we can make them believe that evil is good.
And they're doing a fine job right now as we speak.
Oh, yeah.
They're doing a fine job of destruction, folks. But I got to tell you, I have the smartest. I think I have one of the smartest audiences.
Yeah.
Because they're well aware of this. They're like, man, this is all like prophecy being fulfilled right now. People being cowardice.
Mm-hmm.
People, they will acknowledge the name of God, but they will deny the power thereof. That's what 2 Timothy chapter 3, of course. And it's crazy. People have cardinal hearts, right? They only want to do what their heart desires.
Mm-hmm.
And what does the scripture tell us? Our hearts are the most deceitful thing ever.
Right.
The human heart is deceitful. And if you're not enamored with God, you're toast. That's just the way it is. And this lady, left Canada. Listen to this.
So as you may or may not know, Canada is officially dead. Canada is done. It had been declining steadily and heavily for 10, 11, 12 years now, but officially dead. And it's wild how so many people don't realize what's happening in their own country, where anywhere I go in the world, people hear that I'm Canadian, they're like, I'm sorry for your loss. Yeah, many people down here in Costa Rica have left Canada because they realize that it is just deceased. Beyond all of the ridiculous immigration, the laws, the wokeism, the trade deals with America that is absolutely done, our economy collapsing, the freedom of speech laws that are being passed, a government that absolutely is on a trajectory to just completely implode the country. It is sad, honestly. And it's wild how more people don't realize that it's one of the most unaffordable countries. We have the worst healthcare. Soon, me being a Canadian saying this online is going to be illegal. If it's not already legal, like what is hate speech? It's just absolutely wild. So if you have ever considered packing up your bags, leaving Canada, getting out, renouncing your residency, you can absolutely do that. There are many places in the world that are wonderful, that are beautiful, that are affordable, where you can get great healthcare, education, although I do recommend homeschooling your kids so that they don't become brain dead like the rest of society. But yeah, there are other options. So I know so many of you that have been messaging me being like, Sam, Canada, how do I leave? It's not that hard. You just need to make a plan, pick a country, get a visa. Oftentimes you don't even need a visa. Pack up your life and move there.
The goose is cooked in Canada.
Right.
And they're just to the north of us.
Well, and it's happening here. I mean, I think it's SB 711. Yeah, I think it's 711. I don't know. There's so many numbers and they reuse them all the time to keep it confusing. Is a censorship law that is for California. But when it's for California and it's censoring speech online, how is that not affecting the entire country? Right? And so it's telling every social media platform, if this person is speaking and you don't shut it down, we're going to charge you $500,000, $1 million per offense. We're going to lose our freedom of, our First Amendment right, our freedom of speech.
Yeah. And it's already happening in the UK.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, and I tell people, if it's happening in places like that, it's not too far from here. It's already knocking on the door.
And there's going to be people here championing it. Like, if you speak out against it, they're like, oh, how dare you? How dare you?
And you're going to be surprised at the people that are going to be championing it too. Yeah. Well, we're not going to be surprised, but a lot of people will.
Nothing surprises me anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm telling you, there's freedom in that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why, I like certain positions that you stand on, because you're not going to fall for the fool's gold.
Hopefully not.
Yeah. Yeah. Because let me tell you, the level of deception is so high. People might think that something is really real and it's really not. There are a lot of things that aren't real. And this thing that, well, the people need us. No, we don't. It's crazy. I saw a thing with Cory Booker the other day. I'm like, this guy is so full of himself. It's a nut job. And I'm like, bro, people don't need you, dude. We don't need you, bro. We don't.
Right.
As a matter of fact, you guys have overstayed your welcome, all of you. It was supposed to be the average working man and woman that would go and serve, and then they were done. But you guys made careers out of it, and you made millions.
Yeah. You got Maxine Waters, who's going to die in office.
Oh, guppy face?
Yeah. She's already a skeleton.
Yeah. Yeah. That her nickname for me is Guppy Face. I don't know why I gave her that nickname, but I did. But yeah, she's gonna die there.
Yeah.
And look at Mitch McConnell. He made a total career out of it.
Right.
Yeah. Got rich off of our backs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, those people are getting paid. And that's just reported on paper. Imagine the money off paper.
Oh, yeah.
Why, while moms are struggling, trying to work to the bone, have children
Mm-hmm.
that are single, it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible. I'm like, are you serious? And then people like, oh, and these people, oh yes, we feel for our constituents, blah blah blah. I'm like, dude, it's just nothing but a bunch of talking.
Right.
It's like they're talking heads. It's like, because if you confront them in front of their faces, they really have nothing to say.
Right.
They really have nothing to say. Because a few years ago, I sent an interview request out to someone. Oh, can you send me some questions that you can ask them? Blah blah blah. I'm like, no, I don't send questions because I'm off the cuff.
Mm-hmm.
I said I don't do questions.
You didn't get that interview.
Yeah, I didn't get it. I said I don't do cue sheets and all that junk. I'm off the cuff because I want to see how real these people are.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't handle the questions that I ask you off the cuff, no matter who you are,
Right.
we know because they don't want their fakery exposed.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they always ask, can you send questions ahead of schedule? And like, no, I don't do that.
Yeah.
I don't do that. Can you give us some bullet points? No, I don't do that either. You get what you get when you sign on with me. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know. I'm kind of old school like that. I don't play those games. I'm just like, dude, if you can't handle it, then I get it. You're not coming on. No problem.
Yeah.
Now it shows me who you really are.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Like,
think you have an audience that knows that and expects that, and they probably appreciate that.
mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, and you know what? And they love the fact that, hey, if there's somebody that I liked or that I voted for and they do something stupid, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say, that was like a big dumb move.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not afraid to say that, but you know what it is? Everybody is just like this. They're in this echo chamber.
Mm.
And that's why people are so messed up.
Yeah.
Because they're in the echo chamber. Oh, this is my guy. I can't say that even if he did do it. I got to look past it. No.
Right.
That's when they know that they can move the goalpost further when you affirm them, even if they do mess up on certain things.
Right. When you're willing to look the other way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nothing to see here, folks. We got our guy in. No problem.
Mm-hmm.
What? Not good. That's not a good look. Because that person that you're looking past things, certain things on, they're like, oh, okay, I still got my base, so I can just continue to push forward on what I want to do.
I know. I'm talking to people in California all the time, and I'm saying, do you know that every even year we wipe out all of the assembly, all of it? Every single one of them is either up for re-election or they've termed out, right? Every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's a complete turnover. So why are we keeping anybody, right? In 2026, why are we keeping anybody?
Exactly.
Because not one of them is standing up hard enough on all the issues. Not one of them is pushing back hard enough on all the issues.
Mm-hmm.
And, they're saying, well, but she talked about this and she helped with that. And, she did vote no on AB 49. Right. But during the first read, she didn't vote at all. Or, she didn't ask the questions. Or, when it passed Senate, it could have died on the Senate floor. but it was short 2 votes to die on the Senate floor. If one person would have stood up and said, hey, what was with the 4,000 parents that came down here and lobbied us, right? Should we listen to them? Maybe we could have got those 2 votes, right?
Mhm.
So take them all out. There's not one that deserves to stay there.
That's right.
It's not popular opinion.
Nope. You said it.
Yeah.
Take them out and not out to lunch.
Yeah. I mean, every single one of them. We need a clean sweep and start over. And we need to ask the hard questions. Are you willing to stand even if you're standing alone? And I said the same thing in local government. I had it out with one of my city council members that got elected to do something and has tried to play nice and be apathetic. And I said, are you going to stand now? Now that you've had, 6 months to play nice and see what everybody is, are you going to stand even if you're standing by yourself? It's not a fun conversation to have, especially when you put your name on that person, right?
Yeah. 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 And and that's why it's hard for me to get behind someone, because fool me once, shame on me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you go behind and stand behind that person a couple more times, then you've really drank the Kool-Aid with this person, even though they didn't do what they said they were going to do the first time.
Yeah.
And the problem is we're so conditioned. I'm not sorry to say this. We're so conditioned as a society to just go along with the program, play their game. No, that's not how this works. And it's not how it's supposed to work.
Right.
But I don't want to play their political theater game, because they're creating the show tape and they're getting the circus act going, and they're getting paid to be a part of the circus.
Right.
They're making cash being a part of the circus. And guess whose cash it is? It's our cash that they're making.
Right.
We're the cash cows and they're getting paid off of us.
Yeah. And we're paying them more and more and nothing's getting any better.
Oh, and by the way, folks, if you didn't know this, your social security number is your employee ID number. Just saying.
If they're watching your show and they didn't know that, they must be new.
No, they knew that, but some people probably might be new to it. And I'm like,
they might be new.
Yeah, they might be new. And if you are new and you're going to be watching or listening later, your social security number is your employee ID number for every single government official, and they get paid off of it. If you are their constituent, they get paid off of it. Just so you know. And the copy of your birth certificate that you have is not your original copy. It's in the Vatican. Sorry, I go a little deep sometimes.
I like it.
Yeah. It's so true, though. But people don't know that. They're like, what? Like, yeah, you're, man. Oh, man. The road to Rome is happening.
Yeah.
We can see it. Have you ever seen that map, how they're doing this road to Rome, and they made this like different type of Rome, a Club of Rome maps?
No.
Oh, man, you got to check it out. As a matter of fact, when we get off the air, I'll send it to you. It's crazy. It's like they've already got the region set up. I'm like, man, revived Roman Empire, but it's only going to be for a short time before God destroys it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy. I'm telling you, it's all coming. It's all coming to life, Leslie. It's all coming to life.
Well, and it is. And here's the thing, like, people ask, I have a lot of friends in church and they ask, like, okay, so you're saying that you're a believer and everything happens for a reason, and you say who wins, and then, so why are you doing this? Why are you fighting? When you get doxxed, or I had to get a restraining order against somebody because I've got death threats coming at me and my kids. And so, Why do you put up with it? Why do you push? Why do you do it? Well, just because I know who wins in the end doesn't mean that I'm going to sit down and help Satan get there,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Right? So just because I know that everything happens for a reason, I also know that I was called for such time as this, right? And people will
Man,
say
you know
that.
what? This is a time that if you read your Bible, that the prophets and apostles were wanting to live in. That's what's incredible.
Right.
And we're living it. We are living it. So for all
Yeah.
those people that are preterists out there, the Bible is not over.
Right.
I'm telling you, this is a road that we have to be on. We have to be on a narrow road. We can't be on the wide road because we
But
know
you
where
know what?
that
It's
leads.
exciting times.
This is exciting.
It's exciting to know that you've been given the honor to take up a mantle and run with it, right? It's
Mhm.
exciting to know that God came to you and said, "Hey, I've got this mission. Are you crazy enough to accept?" And you said yes, right? Like
Mhm.
I joke every time I make a plan for my life, God goes, "Haha, you're funny," slams the door and then cements over it, right? Like just in case you think you're going to pull on that handle, this is shut to you, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so there is so much fun and excitement in living in the yes, right? Like cannot stand Taylor Swift. I think she's like the epitome of all evil and part of what's causing the downfall of our society. But, you know, her whole era thing, I'm in my yes era. Like, as long as it is not going to take away from my kids and it is going to move the needle, if I
Mhm.
have the ability to say yes, I'm going to say yes.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah.
And there's something beautiful about living in that space.
Right. And the thing is, people are just so they're just like, oh man, like you said, we know how it ends, but are we to stand for to be salt and light? Yes, absolutely. Number one thing, the reason why we do fight is because we want people to see the light of Christ in us. Number one,
Mhm.
and it gives us time to share his good news with them.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? We while we're here, we are to do that.
Yep.
Like there was a guy that used to live down the street from me, and I used to share my walk with the Lord with him, and he was like, "Wow." And who knows where he's at right now, but he was so open to hearing you. And this guy was I barely knew him as my neighbor, but he was open to hearing what I had to say,
Right.
and he's like, I knew you were a Christian, man, just by the way you carry yourself.
Right.
And I'm like, well, cool. And this guy used to really, I mean, he was like one of those classic liberals, one of those old school ones. You know what I mean? Before they went
Mhm.
off the rails type people.
Right.
So you'll be surprised at how many people would be open to hearing what you have to share with them, especially when it comes to God's word, because they don't hear that anymore.
Right.
Churches are too busy, you know, having pastors that got tight sweaters and creatine pumping their chest like Stephen Furtick. Can't stand that guy. But anyway, saying that he's God Almighty. It's crazy. That's why there's a channel called the Messed Up Church that I I watch sometimes because you can see all of the disgusting heresies that are happening. And that's why we're in the mess that we're in.
Mhm.
Because those pulpits aren't pulpits anymore.
Right.
Yeah. I call a lot of these churches, like these people that call their places churches, I call them Tony Robbins fulfillment centers, like Amazon. That's
Yeah.
what they've become.
Well, you know, I was
Let's itch
sitting.
your ears and tell people what they want to hear.
Yeah, last night I'm sitting in our local board of supervisors meeting. Some states call him a county commissioner, right?
Mhm.
And I'm sitting there and they have the lady that opened with prayer. She's a pastor of some church, right? And
A
you know, me,
pastor? Oh
right?
no!
I know, right? Like
Oh no!
my
Second Timothy
my
2:12.
inner my inner side is like, okay, this is a woman pastor. Not a church I'll ever belong to, but you know, I'm also probably never going to push for a woman president. Like I'm never going to argue feminism with you because God
The
created things
feminist
and
movement is
designed
worse than it's ever happened in this country.
it really is. And I will argue that exact argument with you every day because, you know, God had a perfect design and why mess with it, right? So
Mhm.
she gets up there and she does her whole prayer on like, let's be unified and let's be kind and let's all work together, right? And then she sits down in the audience. She takes off all her stuff that says she's of the cloth of something. I don't know what she is. And she sits down and she starts engaging in the discourse across the room. And she's yelling at people and she's engaging in the problem. And
Mhm.
I turned at one point and I just pulled out my phone and I was like, I'm going to film this. Cause like,
Did you film it?
I did. I filmed her arguing with like this little old guy from our side of the aisle. And she's like, you just need you're so mean and you're this and you're that. And he's like, you need to turn down your hearing aids and watch what's going on. Like it was insane. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. But you're going to sit up there and pray about unity and then you're going to be part of the discourse.
It's because they're possessed by a demon.
Yeah. It was insane.
I want you to listen to what my buddy Paul Walsher says.
Walk up to someone and says, God loves you and has a wonderful plan for your life. Can you imagine telling that to an American? Sir, God loves you and has a wonderful plan for your life. What? God loves me? Oh, that's great because I love me too. Oh, this is wonderful. And God's got a wonderful plan. I got a wonderful plan for my life too. And if I accept Him into my life, I'll have my best life now. This is absolutely wonderful. That is not biblical evangelism. Let me give you something in its place. God comes to Moses and He says this. The Lord God, compassionate and gracious, slow to anger and abounding in loving kindness and truth, who keeps loving kindness for thousands, who forgives iniquity, transgression, and sin, yet He will by no means leave the guilty unpunished. The reaction of Moses. Moses made haste to bow low toward the earth and worship. Evangelism begins with the nature of God. Who is God? Can a man recognize anything about his sin if he hath not a standard with which to compare himself? If we tell him nothing but trivial things about God that tickle the carnal mind, will he ever be brought to genuine repentance and faith? We do not begin with God loves you and has a wonderful plan. We begin with a discourse of the full counsel of who God is. And we tell him from the start, it may cost him his life.
Wow.
Wow.
Go figure with that, huh?
Right? Yeah.
That's the kind of expository messaging that I like hearing. Because I'm not afraid to say this right now, but I am afraid I am like actually horrified that how weakened society is right now, especially the men in society have become weak sauce.
Mm-hmm.
God designed men and women differently.
Absolutely. 100%.
God designed men to be leaders and to love their women like, Christ loved them.
Mm-hmm.
We're to be upright. But I don't see that. I see, well, I just don't want to get involved. I just don't want to ruffle any feathers.
Right.
Really? You don't want to protect your family? Your household? You don't?
Right. Well,
And
and
if people are like that, I'm like, bro, we can't work together if you're going to be this way. But I'm going to tell you like it is. Hey, man, you gotta as God told Job, gird up your loins.
right. And you have a whole society that's telling men masculinity is toxic, right? And you've got
Mhm.
a whole society of women saying, I don't need you. I could do me all by myself, blah, 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 right? And then what does it do? It destroys it
Mhm.
for those who are seeking what's right and those who are seeking what is true, right? Like, I always wanted to be June Cleaver with the pie and the white picket fence. And I just wanted, you know, the church and the husband and the kids and the little kitchen that's all mine, right? Like
Mhm.
that's all I wanted in life. Just be mom and a wife, right? I
Mhm.
wanted that biblical picture. Never did I imagine I would be a single mom, 3 kids out in the world trying to fight for anything and push anything in a society that's telling me, "Oh, you know what? It, you don't need to fight so hard. Just come be dependent on the government fully. We'll make it so easy for you." And they
Mhm.
do. If I was to not work, if I was to not push so hard, I can have such an easy life. I'm offered as a single mom, oh, you can get on this and on this and on this and on this, and the government will take care of you for the rest of your life.
Mm-mm.
I'm
Mm-mm.
not taking any part of it because once you do, you're trapped, right? And you
Mhm.
will never reach your true fulfillment. And what does that teach your kids?
Right.
Hey, become dependent on the government. They'll take care of you. They'll take care of you. You don't need anything.
Mhm.
And for me, not having that man role, I would be teaching my kids the government's your daddy. Like you said, don't let the government become your daddy, right? Like that would be the message I'm sending them. No, right? I'm going to work
Mhm.
my butt off, but not because I want to. I don't think women should be the head of a house. I don't want to be the head of my own household, right?
Right.
I'm going to be, well, I have to be until I find something that is beautiful and right and righteous so that I
Mhm.
can show my kids what's right, what's true, show my son how he should treat his wife. But until that day, I'm going to fight and show them and do what's right, right?
Mhm.
And that leads to the same thing of like, why don't I just sit back and watch things happen? Why don't I do something easier? Why don't I stop being involved fighting against the, people that are out to get? Because then what am I teaching my kids? Back down when things get tough?
Mhm.
Let evil win? No.
Yeah.
Stand up for what you believe in, even if you're standing by yourself. That's what I want to teach my kids.
Absolutely. And I have a sentiment. I'm telling people that this is what the devil wants. He wants families to be separated, right? He
Mhm.
wants divorce to happen. He wants men to be distracted by the wrong things.
Yep.
And that is why this mess continues to increase, because men are not being men.
Mhm. And women are trying to be men.
Yeah, and that's not good. It's
And
not good.
they're not being what a biblical woman should be. And then they're
Mhm.
tearing down their husband and then saying, "Look at me, I'm the victim. He was so mean to me." Right? Like,
Mhm.
no, were you building him up? Were you doing for him the things? Were you serving him? No.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, it's a two-way street. And unfortunately, the way that the things have been built to where, this whole thing, oh man, you can do you. What?
Mhm.
That is the worst thing ever. Do you?
Mhm.
No. No. That's not
Yeah, it's
how
harmful.
that's not how we're designed to be. Not at all. I'm like, this is wild to me. I'm like,
Right. That's because you're
woman,
not supposed to do things for your own glory. You're supposed to
no.
do all things for the glory of God.
Yep. 100%.
And so if you're doing you, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm. We live in a society of selfishness.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Instant gratification, selfishness, laziness,
Mm-hmm.
dependence on the government.
Mm. And what comes from all of that? People have problems with covetousness and more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, man, come on, people, wake up.
Yeah.
And I challenge some of my friends that are guys, and they do the same for me. And that's the thing too. Guys need to be part of a men's group that's strong and upright, and that will hold each other accountable for anything that's coming their way that shouldn't
Right.
be there. And I mean, ladies would have their groups,
Right. And they
right?
need to. They need
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
But
It's
and
very
I
important.
learned I was part of a mom's group, and I learned something very powerful in there. And I actually learned it as I was going through my divorce, right? Like a good friend will fight for your marriage when you're not wanting to, right? A good friend will be there to support you even when you don't want it, right? And so
Mhm.
as I went through my divorce, how easy would it have been to spread toxicity to my friends and say, you know what, you're right, your husband's being a jerk. Come join me. Let's all go be single together, right? But
Mhm.
I didn't, because I was taught that as I went into it, right? So I was
Mhm.
taught that a good friend will fight for your marriage when you're not willing to. And so as my friends started slipping into that, like, oh, woe is me, this is bad, I'm telling them, you have something worth fighting for. You have, I would love to be in the situation that you're in, and he loves you so much, and you have a good God-fearing man who cares about you and your kids, and it's worth sticking it out for. And
Mhm.
they were grateful for that. And then, they'll hold me accountable one day for the same thing, like, and they do hold me accountable now. Like, are you dating the way you're supposed to be dating? Like, my friends have completely revoked my right to date. They're like, your judgment is terrible. You're really bad at it. And you're not dating the people that are going to be glorifying to what you want. Right. So
Mhm.
they've completely revoked that. But they've done that because they know that I'm there to fight for their marriage when they're not willing to be, right? Those are the good friends you need. That's what a women's group should be doing. That's what a man's group should be doing.
Mhm.
Building each other up and fighting for each other when you're not strong enough to fight.
Yep. And making sure that no one is towing the line to compromise the values that God instills into us. That's pretty much number one. And this guy explains everything, the reason why society is going to be the way it is, and he was ahead of his time.
In the last days, there will be a church that goes after forgiveness only. That is all they will preach. Come to Jesus, lay hold of him. You can walk your own walk and talk your own talk. You can have all this in Jesus too. No holiness preaching, no separation from the world, no preaching of sanctification, no dealing with sin. The Bible says they will heap to themselves teachers having itching ears. And there are churches all over America that'll give you pablum. They'll give you candy cotton. They'll give you a gospel that makes you feel good. Don't dare go to a church where you don't have the sword of the Lord piercing into the innermost being till you feel the guilt of your sin.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're in this predicament, because
Yeah. Yeah.
wow.
It's that slate wiped clean theory, right? Like,
Mhm.
go live your life. And on Sunday, just come in, we'll wipe your slate for you. Right. You come in, you say only Jesus, we wipe it. It's all gone.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what he's preaching about. That's what he's saying to watch out for.
Mhm. And boy, over 80% of the so-called churches in the United States are doing that.
Oh yeah.
I have a friend who's a pastor down in Bakersfield, California, who had a church tracker system. And this was during, the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
It started out with almost 2,000 churches. this is countrywide.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's under 200 churches that are remnant. 200, under 200. That's crazy. And I had him on right before I went to his church and did a live broadcast from his conference. And I said, that number is about to go lower, huh? He goes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's not messing around. He's like, man,
Right.
we're becoming the minority.
Yeah.
The true Christian church is becoming a minority. It's absolutely insane. And good thing is, I'm glad you did confront the pastor at your church. But what's sad is that men aren't confronting the pastor.
Right. Right. Well, and you know, even that confrontation, honestly, it's only worth, you know, the story it's told. If I don't leave, right? If I don't push on that harder and leave, he's never going to make a change, right? So I'm working on how hard I'm going to push and how I'm going to go about it and how far I'm going to take this up church leadership. But I am also aware that I might be walking away from my church family. And I know that that has to come, because if I don't, then it was a conversation. And yeah, I could feel good about the fact that I had it and I stood for what I said I believed in. But did I if I don't leave? And I know that that's coming. Is there a better place for me to go here locally? I don't know. But I do know that there's churches I can watch online. I do know, you know, that there's other places I can get fed. You know, I'm going to be okay. Are the rest of the people in my church family going to be okay? I don't know. Is he going to continue to not push hard enough? I don't know. But I have to call him out.
Yeah. And it all depends on the elder board too.
Right.
Because they could say, yeah, go ahead, man. We need to fill those pews.
That's what I'm worried about. That's what I'm worried about. Is I know that's where I have to take it. I'm actually hoping that my friend and her husband will do it with me, because like you said, there needs to be a man. There needs to be, you know, me coming to them is not going to be enough.
Yeah. And I you know, and that's that, you know, and in the Bible it tells us that too, man. The men need to stand up.
Right.
But unfortunately, a lot of the men are asleep at the wheel.
Right. Well, because society does that to them. They've been told, you know, oh, you could take the Sunday off. Your football team's playing. You don't think that's by design? That all the football teams play during the time that most churches are in session?
Stadiums. They're made like what? The Roman Colosseum.
Right. Keep us dumbed down, distracted, and divided.
Yeah. Because, man, it's, I don't know. I'm cut from a different cloth. I was raised differently. And I see people around me. I'm like, man, that's kind of wimpy. That's kind of some wimp stuff going on here. I'm not good with this Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity stuff that's going on around me. I'm not good with that.
Yeah.
Do you know my circle of so-called friends like really dwindled fast too, because I came out saying, hey, I'm not with that.
Yeah.
You know? And it was already a small circle already, but it got smaller. It got super smaller.
You know what, though? That's the best kind.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, if waters rise, I know who my people are. They'll all fit on a small boat. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, exactly. And and that's how I came up with a design for a shirt with one of my producer, Peter. I was like, jump in the boat with Jesus. Because that's gonna be a small boat.
Yeah. Right.
You know, I said, don't worry. It might not even be a tight squeeze because only very few are going to jump in that boat with you.
Right.
You know, and it's better that way. It's
Yeah.
a ton better that way. And when things start to really dwindle down, you start to really find out who the real people were, who were going to be fearing the Lord. And those are the type of people that I only want to be around. Because some people are still living that life, and I'm like, dude, do you realize the words that are coming out of your mouth are disgusting?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, and I'm talking about these guys. Some of these people will be cursing around kids. I'm like, bro, come on. I don't, I just don't do well with that. I don't do well with that. It just like I've been guilty back in the day of, saying a few words here, but you know what? It made me
Mm-hmm.
sick. That's when you know you're being convicted by the Holy Spirit. When you can feel sick about something you said that you shouldn't have said.
Yeah.
But people now, they just let it roll off their tongue. And I'm like, wow, man, that tongue is lethal. It can get you in trouble. Big time. And I just don't want to be a part of that. I choose not to. And I know I get a lot of flack from people like, oh, you're taking too much of a hard stance. I'm like, no, I'm taking the right stance.
Yeah.
So before I took up all your time, what's next on the docket for you? What do you got going on next?
Well, we're not letting AB 495 stand if we can say anything about it. So, in years past when COVID was going and, they were trying to push a vaccine on the state of California and on our kids, we did a school walkout in Shasta County. We got 46% of our county to stay home. And we had all of our superintendents write a letter to the governor and to all the legislators, and they wrote it as under duress. We want to inform you that, we'll lose almost half of our county if you push for a vaccine requirement for COVID for our students. And we were pissed about that letter. We were like, that is so worthless. That you wrote a letter under duress? Like, you really said that? And so we were disheartened. We felt defeated. We didn't think we made a difference. And later there was a PRA that came out that said that letter circulated the Capitol building. And they ended up dropping the piece of legislation that was going to put a mandated COVID vaccine on all of the students in California. Well, so that action in that letter saved the state of California and then saved the rest of the country from having a mandatory COVID vaccine. So what we're going to do is we are going to walk out again, but we are going to do it statewide. So we have authorization from the CHP. We have the use permit. We are going to be meeting at the California State Capitol on November 19th for a walkout. We will be there from 9 to 2:30. And then anybody who wants to do it in their local area, all you got to do is reach out to us. We'll help you come up with a plan to host your own event. But we need everybody in the state of California that cares about the fact that your parental rights are being stripped away to stand up and say, we're keeping our kid home. I don't care if you keep your kid home and you guys stay in your pajamas and have donuts and watch TV and eat popcorn all day, or if you come and join us. If you come join us at our event at the Capitol or one of the other events across the state that's going to be happening, any of the satellite events, you will be given tools. You will be given knowledge that you can use to fight back, join the fight, and hold your representatives accountable. So I really hope you join us because I think it's going to be a very powerful day to give you what you need to be equipped. But if you do not join us, then keep your kids home. November 19th, we're going to stand as a state and say it's time to repeal AB 495. And you can reach us at ab495walkout@aol.com.
Right on. Leslie, I got a question for you from my moderator. It's going to pop up on the screen right now. Hold on.
Okay.
My moderator, Carolyn, wants to know if you know these folks.
Yes, I do. So they actually are part of Mountaintop Media. And Yes, Terry calls himself my Uncle Terry. So yes, I know Terry and Sally and Win. And when I got divorced, Win and Terry are actually who moved me into my new home. So out of all the people in the whole world, those two men, they pulled together all my stuff and helped me. So yes, I do know them.
Wow, that's so cool.
Small world, right?
Small world. And
Yeah.
yeah, Caitlin's one of my main moderators.
Yep.
Well, all of them pretty much are, but
Yeah. And Janet Chandler, the mama of Jefferson. Yeah. So they are all part of the Jefferson State movement. And
Mhm,
yeah.
mhm. Well, you know what? I'm finally glad to meet you. I'm glad that we're
Absolutely.
gonna fight the good fight together and finish the race strong. Um, no matter what happens here, we did what we're supposed to do. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. We
Yep.
did what we were supposed to do, and that is to stand for what's right and not let evil prevail. But I got to tell you, these people that are on this evil train, that thinking that they're going to have a party in, well, I say it here. They think that they're going to have a party in hell. It's not going to be that way.
Right.
They're going to be by themselves, an eternal punishment for an eternity.
Right.
So don't worry about these people. Just keep fighting the good fight. Finish strong.
Right.
So you can hear those wonderful words, well done, good and faithful servant.
I agree.
You know, time is short, folks. And we need to keep on, putting our feet to the pavement and just going with it and just letting these folks know, hey, we're standing for righteousness. You guys can have the world. It's a sewer. One of my friends, he's a great Bible teacher, and he says the world is a sewer and we're just passing through it.
Yeah.
I'm like, thank God.
It's pretty accurate.
Yeah. So, all of these rotten people, they'll get theirs.
Right.
We're fighting the war with an enemy. The enemy of their souls and ours.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's definitely the enemy of our souls. Because I guarantee you, when we wake up every morning, he's probably like, oh no, not those people. He's like, God gave them another day. Oh no.
Right.
The devil's trying to take down as many people as he can right now with him. Because he knows he's running out of time. The time clock is running out for him and he knows it.
Right.
That's why all this boogery is happening right now. But you know what? It's all good. I'm glad that he knows that his time is running out. And I guarantee you, there's going to be some people that are going to say, man, I wish I were fighting like those two at the end of the day. Because now I'm left behind and it is going to be crazy.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah. And you know what? As a kid, those movies physically agitated me, right? Like those left, I watched them because, who didn't in the 90s, but I couldn't sleep. It physically agitated me. Like, and I understand it now,
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
That's really cool. Yes. So, I'll talk to you off the air about doing something in the future with a couple of shows because I have some ideas.
Absolutely.
Because I think we can all learn and glean and grow from one another. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for being on for the first time.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys, I will see you mañana. God bless you. Love one another. Take care of each other. And remember, if Jesus doesn't come back, I'll see you here, there, or in the air. God bless.
Vindog Radio.